So at this point, all of the students would have collected their data, and their data table should be filled in. And so these next few slides, I talk about how to graph. And it is difficult for my students, 8th graders. Depending on their math level, it's difficult for them to graph. So we start with this slide, and I say it's going to look something like this. But everyone's will be a little different because people found different items in their house. And then I go to this slide and say, when you open up your graphing and questions, this is what you're going to see. And then here is an example of some data we're going to use. And so I use this data to show them how to graph. Now, a common misconception that students do is they use these numbers here to put directly into here. So I talk about that. And I actually say, look, this is common, but I'm going to show you how to do it wrong. So I'm going to put these numbers, 24, 26, 42, and 58 here. So I put 24, 26, and so on. And explain to them that is not how you do it. Those numbers tell you the size of each bar. And then what I talk about is what kind of range do we want to use that 24 to 58 will fit into, and then we come to the conclusion that 10, a sequence of 10s, would be the best choice for this range of data. So I'm going to put that in for them. Then I ask them, okay, what goes on the y-axis? Well, it's a bar graph, so it's going to be based on categories, and we're going to put in the beaks. So I put in spoon, and the next one, fork, chopsticks, and tweezers. Forks, a fork. I just initial that, chopstick, and tweezers. Then I ask them, how do we label the y-axis? So I say, what do these numbers represent? And then we come to the conclusion that it's total food items. Then we have to click and drag the boxes or the bars over. So spoons. Oh, and I also recommend to them to have a split screen like this so they can look at their data and then manipulate their graph. Okay, spoons, total food item 26. So I'm going to click and drag this box up to right about there. Forks had 24. So I'm going to click and drag this over and put this right around where 24 would be. Chopsticks, 58. And I'm going to go right under 60 right there. And then tweezers had 42. And then we come up with a name here. And that's basically how I showed them how to do the graph. And then I have them open up their data table that they should have filled in, and then go into Google Classroom and open up the graphing and questions. I don't like to have them have these things open because I know they're just going to fidget with it while I'm giving them important information. And you can see here's a link to it if you want to go straight there. And then remember on the first slide, there's a link to the graph and questions. Hope that helps.